have an awesome variety of vendors here across the entire industry. You guys are in for a treat, okay? So this is Nikki, the Sassy Subber, Karina, Bella Blue, Erin with our Success Group. We have Stephanie with Caesar, Lisa Shaw with Embrilliance, and then we have Richard with SewingMachine.com. With this entire group, over 100 years of experience in the industry, so you guys are going to really enjoy this. Okay? Combined experience. Combined experience. Okay, so I'm going to start with Richard because that's what the request was. If you don't mind, tell us just a second who you are and what you do.
Okay, well, my name is Richard Blado. I've been doing this for 34 years. I work for SewingMachine.com, and we basically sell anything that you would like to have to decorate apparel, clothing, anything. We have sewing machines, we have embroidery machines, we have supplies, we have garment printers, we have heat presses. So anything that you like to do, if you want to make clothing or you want to decorate it, we have that. And so I teach classes for them, I train for them, and I help them pretty much any way that they need to.
My name is Lisa Shaw, and I am an independent educator, and my focus is mostly software. It's always been software. I've been doing machine embroidery for over 30 years now, and I really focus on Embrilliance right now, but I really enjoy the meshing of being creative with the techiness of working on the computer. Because everyone goes, ooh, computers, they're hard. And oh, that's how we make fun things. So that's why I enjoy doing what I do.
I'm Stephanie, and I work for Caesar North America, which is, hopefully some of you know, HTV. And I love to decorate. I also am an embroiderer. So my title with Caesar is craft coordinator. So I bring other crafts to Caesar, which is for me embroidery.
Love Caesar. All right. My name is Aaron Montgomery. The company I own is called Our Success Group. I help overwhelm small business owners through business coaching, mindset coaching. I'm a Jack Canfield Success Principles trainer. So I've been in this industry for about 22 years now, so it sounds like I'm the rookie. And back in 2013, I started a podcast called the Two Regular Guys Podcast. And so I've been talking industry stuff, talking to industry, awesome people like this for a very long time, and love having an opportunity to always be talking.
That's long enough. Sorry. Good morning. I am Karina Lukowitz. I am Bella Blue Embroidery. I digitize embroidery designs for people to buy, and as well as do custom digitizing. My claim to fame is handwriting. I will take your loved one's handwriting and turn it into an embroidery design. I also have done ultrasounds, which said could never be done, but I did some really cool ultrasounds. And I've been in this business, I'm sorry, I'm a rookie, she's even younger than me, but I've been in it for 20 years. I started off with Viking software teaching classes and teaching digitizing, and now I just keep my child in the all-star cheer. You're the baby.
I'm the rookie. My name is Nikki Adamowitz. I'm known as the Sassy Subber. I've actually been in the crafting community, thank you, for 15 years. Not too much of a baby, but I've been in sublimation for 6, but my claim to fame is I teach everything sublimation. I bring community together, and I help you build your business and your brand while teaching you how to do sublimation. I teach live every Sunday, so I'm kind of like an online personality. I'm a personality in itself. So there you
go. Okay, so this is where I'm going to open it up to you guys. And if anyone have any questions, anybody want to start us off? anything, any direction at all?
We're up here, we're ready. All the questions you had, Mary, we had last night.
Gone.
They went. I mean, honestly, you people, and I've taken 4 of the 6 of you for classes, are absolutely awesome. You've opened up a whole new world. The idea of, you talked a lot about finding your spot and not underpricing and not doing it. You talked about other ways that you could go with what you have. You were absolutely amazing on making it to where I don't feel so overwhelmed with stitch artists and with ingredients, and I've had forever and never used it. You have always been there as a company. When I need something, I can call you and you're there. These people, I need to get to know more. In this area, at this conference, there's only so many times that you can take, and I couldn't, it was like, how am I gonna be 2 places? I couldn't call myself to go to everything.
Well, that's why you're here,
Right.
so we can get a little bit.
And, I mean, I need, one thing I would like for all of you, some of you, I've got websites, I would like to find more for you, and direction to go. But pricing is a major issue, and I have a real hard time with.
So we can start with that. Why don't we start with, if it were you, how would you price a product?
Exactly.
What is, do you have a magic number, or how do you do it?
I use Aaron's method.
Okay,
Okay, so I will tell you, this is a true story. So when I first started, my mom's an accountant, and she gave me the most basic way to do it, just so that I could get myself started. So I started taking Aaron's class, and I remember going back to my mom going, I think we're doing this wrong. I think I'm doing this wrong. She goes, still price with your heart. You still have to add it to it. She goes, but I want to make sure you're making money and that you know your worth. And that I must have replayed his section over and over again, where I was kind of on point with that. You don't want to price something so low to try to be competitive. Okay, because you're just basically handing it away. You might as well just say, here's a freebie. I paid for all the product, but you got it. You don't want to do that, you know, and where we forget to add stuff in is how much time did it take you to get there? You know, you want to be able to know that, and that's probably the hardest thing in any industry. I don't care what industry you are. I used to own a catering company and a bakery. And as a wedding planner for 20 years, it was the hardest thing I had to do was say, what was I worth? It is so hard because we don't want to say we're less than, because in our heads we're like, oh, we are worth all of this.
Oh, yeah.
We're worth $1 million, right? We know that, but then somebody comes right in front of us and you're like, well, okay, I'll help you out. You gotta stick to your guns and your formula, whatever that may be. I'm gonna hand it actually over probably to Karina and Aaron.
Well, I do both embroidery designs as well as I do stitch on garments. My background, I was a buyer for a college. I did college licensing, so that was easy. That was 2.5 times my cost, which was keystoning, which included shipping. That was easy. For embroidery, it's very hard because everybody wants a deal, everybody wants a freebie, and I have learned over these years, my freebie takers, they're not my customers.
Right.
I charge $4.99 for my designs. I bumped them up because you know what, I'm worth it. And I see other digitizers, I don't bash anybody, but I see them running entire set sales for $1. And I said, you know what, you are undervaluing your work and you're making the embroidery world a laughing stock.
But it's not just in the embroidery world, it's also in the
It's also the
graphic
digitizer, I mean, also in the graphic arts for sublimation, also for vinyl. I'm not gonna do that. You have minimum $10,000 machines, you can afford a $4 minimum design, because that is what you use in your business to make more money off of. So I bumped it up because I'm worth it, and my costs have gone up, my website has gone up. In order for you to come back and re-download a design, if I had that on my website, it would cost me about $500 a month, just for you to have the ability to come back. So I have to add that into my cost of my designs. So that's how I look at it. I don't have any magic formula, I just know how long it takes me to do something. I mean, my in the hoop stuff takes me longer because I am constantly testing and fixing it, fixing it, having my testers do they get my designs and then they test it. And then they say, oh, this is right, this is not right, can you do this? So sometimes, an in the hoop design will take me a month, just because I'm too much of a perfectionist, which I hope when my customer buys it, they appreciate that. Did that answer any questions, or did I just circle back? I circled. Okay, well, it's your turn.
Your cost. And why does 3 become the magic number or dollar become the magic number? I ran into a new client that I'm working with right now, and she was at 25 cents per 1,000 stitches. And she is so overwhelmingly busy that she can barely keep up, and yet she's not making any progress. But she's so in it, she couldn't see it, right? It's hard to see that, I get it. So we're trying to get her to back up, slow down, because she didn't even know how much, yesterday in the class, I asked the group, and who knew how much it cost them to be in business? How much does it cost you to open your doors every day, right? And so we'll throw it out here. Who knows that number? Who has that number that they can, And so just doing that, and yes, it seems a little big and overwhelming at first, but it doesn't have to be exact, right? Get the things, you've got if you've got a storefront, you've got rent, you've got marketing, you've got your cell phone, you've got your equipment lease maybe or something like that. Just get as many of those numbers as you can together. Also, plan to pay yourself. Also, put aside money to buy the next machine from whoever, the software, the big stock of vinyl, all the different things you guys need, blanks. Get all those numbers together as best you can. It's going to be a big, scary number, right? That's the other part, is it's scary. But when you take that and then you break it down into how many hours you're actually working on your business that you want to be, right? So don't put 168 hours a week. That is your right as an entrepreneur to work every hour of every day, but you don't want to be doing that. So we take that number, and then, okay, so it's $100 an hour to run your business. Well, how long does it take you to make that thing? And now you've got yourself covered, and we've got a guardrail to go by that allows us to always be at least profitable, because you're paying yourself in there. So even if you sold it at quote unquote cost, you're profitable. And so that's what my system has been all about, that I've worked out, because I've been part of companies that are out of business, right? And so I've seen these things happen, and so that's where it all comes from. So I think from a pricing standpoint, that's what I think are important. Understanding about paying yourself, knowing your numbers, and then you can figure out a pricing formula that works for you. I have no problem with it being a formula. Actually, my friends kid me and call me a data hipster because I love spreadsheets so much. So I'm all about a good formula, but it's got to make sense for you. And then, like Nikki was saying, you don't just go out and give it away. We are in that industry where we're trying to sell perceived value, not actual utility value. Right? So there we go. Your turn. Sorry.
Not to come back to follow it all, not at all. So I'm gonna go kind of the opposite route and just say that when I teach a class, don't be that person. And we know who that person is the 99-cent person. Don't be that person. If all of your friends, let's just say they're charging $25, don't charge 10. They're making money at 25 and you're working your tail off and you're making nothing. So to me, it's not being that person, kind of looking around, knowing your formula, what do you need to pay your bills, and knowing your worth. I think in an industry that's very female dominated, sometimes we don't realize our worth. I love when she's like, I know I'm worth $1 billion. That's that attitude. That attitude is what changes how you run your business. To me, and it sounds kind of cocky, I'm gonna eat tonight if you put a monogram on a lunchbox or not. So I'm not gonna apologize that I charge $20 at all, because I'm having that kind of worth of, I'm not gonna be that person, I'm not gonna charge $8, because I had a $20,000 this, and knowing what you put into it, you need to get something out of it.
It also helps you weed out your customers
Yeah.
too. Absolutely.
I don't want it $10,
Well, I'm coming from a software point of view, so when I see the students in class, I know they came to me to learn how to use software to finish or do whatever there is to doing. And my takeaway from that is don't be afraid to ask for help. If you're learning how to digitize because you think you're gonna save money, it took me 30 years to get where I am of constant practice. And I wasn't making hats at the same time and stitching t-shirts and doing all that. I was focusing on my software. So it wouldn't be, I couldn't do both. So could I add a name to an existing logo and could I do the customizing bit? Sure, but I wanted to focus on the digitizing part as well as the customizing as well as the software. So if you're trying to make money making physical goods, maybe it's not a wise idea to really focus on the hard bits of learning the art of digitizing to do that at the same time, unless that's your passion. So on that note, don't be afraid to ask for help and understand that you need to have a communication relationship with that person you are asking for help. Tell them, I need my logo done for a hat. This is how I'm gonna stitch it out. Make sure you work with them. If they understand what you're talking about, then you're gonna get a quality product, you're gonna have a working relationship with them. You know, it's something back and forth, back and forth. It's just, it makes your life easier if that's what you're into.
Well, I thought I was going first. I'm going last year. No, I'm just kidding. So, you know, besides the obvious part of factoring in, you know, you really need to know all of your costs. You know, if you're doing digital transfer, what your paper cost is, what your ink cost is, what your material that you're putting it on, the cost of that is. But one of the, and a lot of good ideas, but one of the things that we haven't mentioned, when we're talking about factoring in our cost, is more than just new equipment cost, is cost to maintain that equipment. And a lot of times we leave that part out, and then all of a sudden our machine needs to be repaired, and we've got a $300 bill. Man. So one of the things as you're factoring in all these factors, always factor in that, hey, this equipment is going to have to be maintained. The more I use it, the more maintenance is going to have to be done. I need to do my routine maintenance. I need to, you know, I'm going to have machines break down. You know, they're going to have to be repaired. I need to make sure that that doesn't jump up and bite me because I didn't factor that in. So as we're factoring, you know, not only new equipment, obviously we want to get new equipment and have nice new stuff, but we also have to factor in how we're going to keep our existing equipment running at the top level. So.
Yep.
So, no, that was really good. I think,
You covered it all.
yes. Yes, covered it all. Okay, so does anyone have any other questions regarding the pricing or?
Next
Oh, you have one. Okay, what's your question?
Back I'm sorry, I'm terrible with names too.
Karina? Yes.
So I get where you're coming from. You mentioned in the hoop. And I am like, I fall down what I call the rabbit hole with the in the hoop stuff. Welcome. Well, so I have a storefront and my target is not just with apparel but gifts. You know, I want people to come in and shop to get gifts, and so the in the hoop stuff flips my switch. You know, I just love it. And so when you're taking, like I made something the other day, it was the same size as a mug rug, but it was like a little hanging quilt looking thing, and the stitch count in it was outrageous. And it took me a while to get to the point where I wasn't babysitting, even though I have a 6 needle, you know, I was having to add stuff constantly. My question is once I got done with that and I looked at it, I loved it, but in order to price that to sell and make money, it's like you can't make those things because you just have to abandon.
The shift is, can I make, if somebody came in and said, I want 100 of those things, can you do it? And like, live to tell about it? Yeah, in that case, not, all right. So you gotta factor those costs in. And then, that's right. But I guess my point is, when we're looking at things to sell, we do have to kind of shift our hat a little bit and make sure that as a business owner, you have to have that business owner hat on too. It's cool to make the creative stuff. What I've seen a lot is people will make that creative stuff, they put that in the front of their store, they put that on their website or whatever, and then they can't keep up, right? We've had situations with like transfer stuff where, okay, it's really cool, but it's got 7 layers and it took, 3 hours to weed and all, whatever, those kinds of things. And so don't let go of the creativity, but just remember, you gotta put the business hat on with it too.
Here we go. So I'm a graphics designer, and I live with the philosophy, you get more bees with honey. And so if I sell you a digital file, for an example, that's $4 file. But if I make it to where I sell it for $6 and I added 2 files to it, you think you struck gold.
Right.
You can take something, and I'm building off what Karina said, and we were talking about it in her class yesterday. Free, change your wording. It can be just your wording that will sell it. If you just kind of just put it out there,
people are like, okay. But you wanna make it sing, you wanna give it its, its due. So if it means adding something, make sure you add the value of whatever it is you're adding in there too. You don't wanna just really give away the farm, but change the wording. And if you've bundled something together, bundle is a huge word. Freebie is another one, but sometimes freebie can also make it sound cheap.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't want that either.
Point is like, do you just abandon that
You give it to someone you love.
Or you make them. And you gotta run your business, you gotta run your store. Do you have time to focus, spend all your time? You said yourself that you have to babysit a design a little bit. So that's time that you're not able to focus on other projects. So I'm not saying like you said, give up on it. It's just, is that the best use of your time, as a business owner, money-wise?
Do you wanna take
I guess more so maybe what my question is there a market for things like that? Because obviously.
You create your market. You
There's
create
always a
market. There's always a market, you create market. But you know what you can do too? Limited edition.
I was gonna say
A
Yeah.
limited edition, you could do that. Okay, so let's say it's your mug rugs, and maybe you know that those mug rugs are gonna do better in the fall and the winter. They can be limited edition, you can stock them. I only have so many of these because they do take you so long. Limited edition is beautiful to use. One, it takes the stress off of you to have to hurry up and get these all out. You're gonna get them done at your leisure. And then you're gonna launch them, and you're only gonna have so many available. You're gonna build up that excitement so you can sell out of them. So that next year, when you come out with that new pattern, that new design, whatever it may be, they're now looking for it. They're hungry for it.
Limited edition.
I have a subscription.
Exclusive, local stitching of it.
Yes, I have a subscription, I have a sticker subscription. And it's limited edition. You can't, I don't sell those designs online. You can only get it if you're a part of the subscription.
And it also allows you to show your work. So if someone wanted to do a custom piece with you, that they could do that as well.
Right. And
So
it's
you're
a-
showcasing what you can do and only letting it be that small amount.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Any other questions about that or any?
I just wanted to thank everybody. I have a machine of my own. And I feel like a 2-year-old, 3-year-old, that all what they do is that they're sponges. And they are studying everything. That's the way I felt. And every information that you provided, and it was well observed, and I'm going to use it.
Good. Welcome to the dark side. Lisa's the hostess with the mostest down there.
What, just building off what she said here though, I challenge people.
We're loud. We don't
Yeah.
like that.
I challenged people in my class yesterday to take something, and not even from my class, take something that you learned here today, something that new, and implement it. That's one of the things I've seen so much in our industry. There is so many amazing, great people, so much great information out there. This is not a closed to the chest industry, as it used to be. I mean, We can all attest to that. It used to be kind of closed off, and I think that's really changed. The problem is people end up being consumers of information, not implementers of information. So, for example, for me, I said, I'm gonna read one book a month, and I thought that was gonna be great. But what I found out is I needed to say, I'm gonna read and implement one book every 6 months or whatever. So the same type of thing here. Make sure that when you're back in your place, schedule time on your calendar, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, to just sit down and figure out how you're going to implement this into your business.
Monday mornings at 9 a.m. every Monday morning.
Okay, so unless we have any other questions about that, I'm just going to throw something out there, okay? So if you could have one piece of advice that you gave to our lovely crowd here, what would it be as far as,
Don't quit. Don't quit. You are going to stumble, you're gonna fall, you're going to have to get yourself back up. I talked about it in our class. I could give you the recipe to bake the most beautiful cake. I'm gonna hand you that recipe. You are going to do something to it that's going to make it completely different and make it completely uniquely yours. So we might be in the same room doing all the same things, and we are competitors with each other, right? But don't quit on your craft. Remember, you're your own beautiful recipe.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with my second piece of advice. Be kind to yourself.
Show grace.
Show grace, give yourself some slack. You may fail the first 100 times or 42 tumblers later. And on the 43rd one, it's gonna be perfect. It's a learning curve. Give yourself grace. If you go to bed, don't go to bed angry with yourself. Don't cry yourself to sleep. Just look in the mirror and say, God damn it, tomorrow's another day and I'm gonna be better because I'm going to try again.
Yep.
Excuse my
Go, you go.
You guys, I'll be last on this one.
I don't know.
And if you're not mad, you take the stage. So mine would be make a policy, whatever your policy is gonna be, and stick to it. For me, great advice, and that's if you have to kind of think of something different. I see so many times when people they want to apologize. I'm so sorry, but, don't apologize. You are your boss. This is some of the things that we've always said we wanted, and you want to have a company, you want to sell, you want to be your boss. Some of it comes with responsibility. The first one is, you get to make the policy, but you also have to stick to it. And I feel like that is, the biggest thing is backstep. And then you go to bed and you're ticked off because you let somebody walk on you. When we have control, other situations, sometimes we don't have control, it's yours. So guess you're the boss, you get to take control. Look at policies, and there's nothing wrong with changing them sometime. But don't change them for him and then change it for her. Change it because it's what you need to do for that next step. But whatever your policy is, stick to it.
And don't change your policy while you're angry.
No, absolutely not. That's what I'm saying, don't change your form.
One thing, make sure you take time out for yourself, because especially if you're a small business or you are doing this to make money or you're working out of your house, life exists outside of what we're doing. Okay, I've been doing machine embroidery software support for 30 years pretty much, and I work 7 days a week, or was working 7 days a week. Well, you have a family, you have friends, you have social life outside of it, and you need to make sure that you aren't working 7 days a week and thinking of the business at 3 o'clock in the morning. You just gotta take time out for yourself every so often.
So for me, it's flexibility. Things are going to change. Things are going to happen that are not good. You're going to mess up a bunch of stuff. but you have to have the ability to be flexible and figure out a way around that and move forward and keep going. Unfortunately, everything's not gonna be every time cut and dry and rigid and just like you want it to be. And that's just life. It's not just in this industry, it's gonna be with everything. So if you can be flexible and work around things that are gonna happen, because they're gonna happen, then you're gonna be a lot happier.
And we leave the best for last right now.
I was just trying to stay out of the way. All right.
Stay in your lane.
I'm not very good at that. All right, so I'm just gonna give you a quote from my mentor, Jack Canfield, that I think is really valuable. My wife loves this one the most, and I borrow it from her. And he says, everything we want is right outside of fear. Everything you desire is right outside of your comfort zone, right? And the comfort zone is just keeping us away from fear. Doesn't mean you have to go jump off a tall building or do anything crazy, but it's poking outside that comfort zone. You know, if you've been thinking, hey, I need to get myself out there a little bit more, become more the face of my company, but you know, doing a live video is super, super scary. It's not, but the first time it is, absolutely. But you know what? You know, you're going to survive it, right? And so we only gain self-confidence when we survive a risk. So just go out there and take a risk. Take whatever small risk you can take, and as you start stacking those up, the momentum builds, and sooner or later you're going to go, wow, what happened? What just happened over the last 2 years? I've been taking all these risks, and look at me now. I'm in an awesome place that I didn't think I could get to. But it starts with actually taking that action and taking the risk.
We have two more. Okay, what is the word that you have always told your children? What is that one little word? 2 letters. 2 letters. No. You are allowed to say no. If it does not fit within your comfort zone and it's not something that you want to do, it's okay to say no, and your customer may get mad at you, but it's okay. You got to be true to you.
And off of that, it's okay to fire your clients too.
I did.
It is okay to fire them, because you know what, they don't value you, all right? And so you know what, with some humility, yeah, just say, you know what, this is not gonna be a good relationship. It's not worth your stress. Your peace of mind is priceless.
All right, now you can
Bomb.
I'm really not trying to do this. You say such good things that I want to add to.
I triggered you.
All right, you did. You triggered me. Okay, so with no, I love that. Perfect. Yes, say no. But when you hear no, don't stop. Right. So just like that 3-year-old kid that we had to say no to. Right? Because when you were a kid, you got told no a whole bunch, and you finally got to that point where you stopped asking for what you want. Get back to being that 3-year-old kid. Keep asking. Be persistent. Show up. There's always somebody willing. We talked about, you know, is there a market for that? Absolutely. There's always a market for that. People sell a plain white t-shirt for $300. There's a market for it. Right? So, Yeezy. His name's Yeezy. So that just keep asking. Keep moving forward. You're going to get told no, and the more no's you get told, the closer you are to a yes. But if you stop at that first no, you're never going to get to the yes.
We're definitely a comical panel, I have to tell you.
Any thoughts on, or, okay, we got it.
We've been doing this for not quite 20 years, and we just work out. It's more now to the point of it is just for pure joy and pleasure. He does digitizing, anyhow. But anyhow, we love Richard. We have been, we've been so impressed. He's a great on-hands teacher and always available. But there are a couple of things. One of the places we went to years ago, one lady said, I had 2 price structures. One for the people I like and one for the ones I don't. Joke about that. And we just recently had somebody come to us and it was just, we had to sell, we're just not gonna be able to do this, because they just were wanting more than we could do at a profit.
Right.
And we are all worth more
So
than
it's
we give
okay to
ourselves
back
credit
away.
for.
You don't need
know.
that stress. Absolutely.
But, one of Dave's sayings he used to open somebody in the workplace was, your lack of planning does not constitute an emergency on my part.
Yeah. Put that in your shop.
But a question to kind of follow that, if you're, your set price in your community is $25 for a monogram, I'm gonna say, do you, and you don't typically charge that much, do you need to kind of work toward the average pricing in your area, or just stick with what you've been doing? Does that make sense?
Do you sell online?
No.
Then I would say you'd have to hit what your target market sells. That's what I do, because I live in a very crafty community, and if I go 10 minutes down the road, I can sell my stuff for double. But on your pricing structure, you have prices for people that you like, people that you don't like. I'm there with you.
We don't really do that, but.
I do. I do. And this customer gave me this design, and honest to God, I didn't want to do it, so I said $100, because I didn't want to do it. That backfired. Not only did I get one design, but I got two. $200. I laughed all the way to the bank and pretended like it took me a very long time, and didn't send it to her for 2 days, when I had it done within a half an hour. So, yes, but I do that pricing structure. She does. Oh, sorry. Yes.
How bad is it to, when somebody says, can you embroider on such and such? Say, can you bring it to me first so I can make that decision? Because I'm not dumb at embroidery, but I'm not great at it either. So I feel like every day I learn something new. This is the greatest time to get for. But it just, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I can do that. I'm not.
No, I agree. I gotta see it.
Okay.
Absolutely, and not only that, I have no problem saying, no, I'm not gonna do that. You know, people used to bring us stuff that were, this is my great grandmother's napkin, and I want you to put it. I'm like, no way. You know, if I can't replace it, or if they want a small monogram on a $500 jacket that if something happens, I can't repair, I'm not gonna be afraid to say, no, I'm not interested in doing that.
Well, these were sleeping bags.
You also want to make sure you have a policy. We talk about policies.
Yes.
Have that policy in place that says, if I mess this up, it's not on me. Because you might only have one shot at it. You might not be able to replace that item, whatever it may be. Make sure you have a policy to cover your butt.
One other thing on that too, asking for that stuff I think is actually really important. Not like should you do it, I think you absolutely should do it, because customer service, most people think customer service is about bending over backwards and doing whatever the customer says, but that's actually the opposite of good customer service. Good customer service is about setting clear expectations up front, getting all the details up front, and then delivering on those expectations. So if you don't know for sure, then absolutely, yeah, let's check it out and make sure that, and spin it in such a way that, yeah, I'd like to see that, so I can make sure that I can do the best job I can for you and put it as a value to them.
It can affect the pricing too.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Sure, and that's another.
Yeah.
I have a question. So like if you have, you say make policy, whatever. So I have a small headquarters and customers come to me, I'm in a rural area. So if I have a sign on my wall, it's got all my policies on it, you know, nothing left after 30 days, minimum charge, whatever, is that like a big turn off to a customer? Are they going and they see all these rules on the wall? Because I'd like to make, you know, say, my policy is right there, you know, minimum $15 charge. Does that tell my customer, too many rules?
I don't think so. Again, I think it's about setting those expectations. I mean, you go like to any major website, if you actually read their policies and rules, some of it's like, wow, yeah, I'm not sure about this, right? But you get that, right? You have to set that expectation. See, I like to make sure that I set policies so I can set those expectations, but then I also look at those policies as a way to tell the customers I really want to do business with that they're special to me. Well, we normally do this, but you know, let's get this relationship going. And so if I've got a, you know, whatever, to get us started, then I can waive those things as a special, as opposed to just kind of picking and choosing. You've got that set policy, you set the expectations, and then you're able to work within that, so we can get our ideal customers in the door and build relationships with them.
That's going back to changing your words.
I mean, look at Walmart has their policies posted everywhere.
Yeah.
What their return policy is, most major companies do. So yes, post it, guide them to it, make sure it's on your websites, make sure it's in your shops, make sure it's even at the bottom of your invoices, you know, everywhere. So it's pretty much, you covered your, right, and you covered your butt.
And a pretty font.
Oh, yeah.
Your policy a lot different in one format versus another.
Usually in Europe, what they do is they charge you homes. So you pay everything up front before the work starts.
Yeah.
So, customers from Asia to go and pick it up because it's already been paid for.
That's a good point. And, like, don't extend terms. We're not in a world anymore that we need to extend terms. If you make an exception, I'll let it slide. But I've way too many people that get burned by extending terms to people. You're not a bank. You're a decorator, right? They've got a credit card. If they want terms, they got 30 days.
Absolutely.
And once we do it once, you feel like you can.
Yeah. Open up that can of worms.
And
Not
boy,
good.
that's a can of worms.
It is.
I have licensing with some colleges, and they have policies of things that I can and cannot decorate. And if I do that, they will remove my right to stitch. Like we looked up for Tory back then for Alabama, and you cannot decorate on apparel, cornhole boards, which shocked me. I mean, tumblers, there was like everything in the world that you could not decorate on. And we're like, well, what are we left with? Chair covers, key fobs. So,
No, I
but,
think that was in there.
oh, that was in there.
You could-
But if they can have policies of what we can and cannot do, why can't we have policies? Because we're not any worse off.
But I look at it, I think, but I'm not Walmart, and I'm not Amazon, and I'm not Alabama. You know, I'm just.
No, you're not. You are you.
But you're your boss.
Right.
You are you.
But my thing is customer service, so if I have great customer service, and then you say, you got all those rules.
That's not bad customer service, yeah. That's right. Have rules, yeah.
We have rules for our children. Right. Yeah, and your business is your baby. And you shouldn't think of it as a consumer, you should think of it as a business person.
And do you want to add, oh, go ahead, Tori.
No, I was just gonna add on that, it's, when somebody comes in and looks at your policies, you know, if they don't like your policies, that's on them. That's not on you, either cover them yourself, that's their responsibility, and if they don't like it, they can turn around and go somewhere else. And I mean, honestly,
And you know it now instead of halfway through the business transaction. You know, it's better to weed out in the beginning, than you're already down the rabbit hole.
And then the other thing about, like, when you're looking at customers, like, oh, they don't like it, so they can, right? It's not an adversarial thing, though. We try to want to make that, we have to fire the customer also. I get it, right? We do, some of those customers. But the reality is, it's nothing more than they just have different values than you have. Doesn't make them a bad person, doesn't make you a bad person, but you have to stick to your values and be true to that, because if you don't, then you're not going to be attracting people that have those same values. You're going to keep getting the people that don't have the same values if you don't have policy procedures and stick with those things.
Well, a lot of times you can tell them it's also to protect them.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
I always spin things into how it serves the customer, right?
Right.
I'm able to do a better job for you because of
I
policy.
follow
and law.
those too.
Yeah.
Right. Another opportunity is, so if Aaron comes into my shop, he's standing right in front of me, we're having that conversation. Protect yourself. How do you do that? I'm gonna send you an email of this conversation we had back and forth, so that, again, that's a great opportunity, put in your policies, remind the customer of the conversation to cover your butt. And it's a paper trail. Because some people don't always deal with invoices per se, but that email conversation,
him and I could be talking about cars in one breath and then embroidery in another, and you lose that in your conversation. So when you go back through too, add that into your office policy, all right? That you're going to email your customer back everything with pictures, everything you talked about. Because then he can say, well, you know, Nikki, no, I don't want that. That's not what I said, or you know what, I thought about it, and it gives them an opportunity, but now you have it in writing. But make that also your back office policy. Not just a policy that everybody sees, but there's two different types of policy. One that you follow, your business back office policies, like I call it, and then you have the one that everybody gets to see. And make sure you have that as well. It sounds very overwhelming to have all these policies, all these rules. It's not. It's to help you down the line, not right here and now. It's helping you down the line for when something may or may not happen. And then while you're in a clear thought, you're making these policies. So as I said, never make a policy while you're angry. Just like you don't go to bed angry, don't make a policy while you're angry, because you're not going to have a clear thought on it. So, and it, like they said, it's also okay to change your policy. I revisit my policies every year, because I reflect on the past year of what I've done. And I also have a disclaimer in there, my policies can change without notice, because you don't have to tell them. That's your business. Big companies don't tell us when they change their policies. We go in, we go to return something, and all of a sudden, nope, that's not how it works anymore. All right?
Right. Now, if you're thinking as a new customer coming into your place, is that gonna be scary to them to see this whole list? Right. And absolutely not. If I go into a store and it's just kind of disabled and I don't see anything that tells me what you're expecting of me, then I'm not sure I'm gonna get the same respect from you. So if I were to see that whole list on the wall in a pretty font that wasn't scary, you know, in nice I'm thinking, wow, she took the time to tell me this is what she expects from me, so she's gonna do a good job. As a new customer, I find it very attractive.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
Organized and thoughtful and.
Yes.
Yes.
To me,
You look
that's related
professional.
to your business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You look very
Not-
professional at that point. You
You
don't
don't
just
just
look like,
expect more quality when you have.
right, you don't look like you're a fly-by-night company. Right. You look like you actually care about your business, which means you're gonna care about me as your client.
So we have 7 minutes left.
Let's make it count.
7 minutes left. I wanted to ask a little bit of a fun question. Okay? Not too crazy, not too crazy. Okay, so if money was no option, no, not even a thought in your mind, what machine, software, design, what would you buy and why?
You're asking this.
I can't answer that right now. I have too many. I have too many. I would buy a machine, no. I would buy a bitch barn. Not a she shed, not a she shed. No, and this is why. I am currently working in the basement of my house, and we have redone one project at a time. I have myself in 3 rooms. I have my large format printer and my Oki upstairs in the extra bedroom. I have an entire room that has 2 15 needles, 2 heat presses, my desk, my sewing machine, my serger, my other printer, my other sublimation printer, and then in my storage room, I have all my bloody tubs that have all my fabric in it. I would have a huge barn, and finally after, my daughter's 9, so finally after 12 years of marriage, my husband is gonna give up a part of his 2,500 square foot pole barn. However, I get the small side, and he's gonna build himself 1,000 square foot on the back. So, with that being said, I'm finally gonna get my barn. I would love to have a 1,000 square foot barn because I will feel organized and everything is in one place. That's what I want. That's what I wish for. If money was no object, and I'd have a bathroom in it.
Bedroom good?
You guys got it?
I have to laugh.
All right. Yeah, see, I'm not really a maker necessarily. I'm more of a looking at production problem solving, that kind of realm. So yeah, I mean, I want to hang out. So if money was no object, I'd just kind of come and travel all over the world and hang out and go into people's shops and do that.
I'm gonna go there.
Yeah, bring the sassy supper with me. So my personal goal is to support over 10,000 businesses with masterminding programs that we get to do inside of our success group right now. So
That's a good one. Hey, that's.
Not a fun personal question, that's a hard one. For me, I think it would be have Home Edit come to my house.
Yes.
So, Home Edit, it's the company that comes in and organizes everything. Because as, I've always said, one of the traits that you don't see a lot of times for a crafter, we are OCD about things, but we're messy. And we're kind of disorganized, and we have the printer and the embroidery and the serger and stuff for all of those everywhere. So for me, it would be, if I'm not gonna have a yacht to, go around to everywhere that I'd like to, go to, it would be to have Home Edit come in and kind of organize me a little bit. Because I feel, I'm blessed to have machines that I've wanted and worked for, so that would be the next thing, would be to be organized. Home Edit.
I know, but what are the two ladies'
Oh, I can't remember.
Clea and
They're cute
the
names.
other one. I know the first one of them's Clea. That's the dark-headed one. I can't remember the other girl.
Oh, I probably want to rent a private island and pay for all of my friends in the industry to come so we can brainstorm together and just have fun and kind of like I used to do this in a local place, Teach the Teachers, where we get to take the classes from the other teachers, because I never get to sit in the class and talk to them. Exactly. So I would really like to do that if I had $1 million.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go a little different route too. If money were no object, then probably what I would like to do is go around the country and do events like this, because that's what I enjoy. I enjoy talking to you guys and talking to people that are new to the industry or old to the industry, and sharing information and seeing them get excited about this industry. We want them to stay excited. We want you to stay excited. And so the way we get that is we educate you. And so for me, if I just had unlimited resources, I would go around and we could do events like this and make sure that everybody out there that wants to get into this industry has the opportunity to do that.
All right, I'm last.
All right.
You're gonna love this one.
The Dream. Have you ever watched, was it Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives with Guy Fieri?
Yeah.
I want to be Guy Fieri. Okay, I want to drive around and go to people's houses, go to the different businesses and learn the people. I'm such a people person. I want to go, I live in upstate New York. I want to travel the world. I want to go on, I'll tag Aaron along too. Because in the back, I'll drive Miss Daisy over here. But I want to go in and meet hometown America. I want to meet the mom and pop businesses that are the backbone of America. That's what I want to do. And I want to teach them something along the way. I want to inspire them. I want to hug their head. And that's what I want to do. So I'm almost there. I'm like actually almost there. So, I like that
Bar rescue.
Bar rescue.
Whatever it is. I'm not kidding. I want the car.
You gotta fix your hair too.
Oh no, it'll be purple.
Gotta be covered.
We have a question.
Yes.
No, I was gonna say, will you make Kentucky your first stop?
Put Alabama on the list.
I would go anywhere. I'm this close to being an empty nester, which is kind of sad. I'm 45 years old, and my youngest just moved out a week ago. My oldest is on the verge of moving out, and I looked at my husband and go, oh, man. And now I actually have to talk to you. And he goes, so what are you doing? I'm gonna travel. He goes, I'm coming with you. I'm like, that wasn't a hard Right, I'm like, you're gonna be bored. There's not enough sports bars in the area. I can
totally make that, not a thing. Honestly,
And he needs to stay home for when they come back.
he's gotta take care of the cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he. Yes,
So
ma'am.
you're gonna start in New York.
Of course.
So you have I'm in New York City.
Honestly, and I've already started living that dream. This was a dream. You all made this. I'm gonna cry, God. You guys made this happen. I've literally 4 years in the making of me wanting to teach live and teach all of you and inspire you and help you grow and bring, I'm the odd man out here. I teach sublimation. You're all embroidery people.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
But I
teach them with the products.
Right, so, but I still feel like the odd man out, and they're like, oh, talking to me about stitches, and I look at them and go, You know we can sub on that, right? So that's what I wanna do, and I'm living the dream. So while yes, money is an option right now, I would love to also build a crafting university. I think that would be cool. That would be cool.
There you go.
In Flint, I know everybody thinks Flint's a bad thing, but in Flint, they actually have a huge facility like this. It has all this different equipment that you can pay to come in and try it. I have never been there, and I really want to, just so I can see what it is.
Where's that at?
In Flint, on a bus.
Oh, I've asked these on a bus, I haven't got one yet, but I'm working on
I think we need to start it. HGTV when it first started, you had those game shows.
Oh yeah, Carol DeVoe is amazing.
Yeah, what I hear is we need one of those big old buses, and we need to haul all the y'all. Yes, I just love the buses in the back and travel to USA.
Christina was looking into a very large passenger van this week, so just make it a bus. Just make it a bus, and we'll all get in there together and go.
Yes.
Maybe we could use some of the gospel people's buses. They have huge buses out back. Maybe it could be a whole traveling show. We got gospel and crafting.
I mean, it'll be a show, I'm not trying to find a show. Well, that's what I said, it's more in the dock area, so we can just go high.
Exactly. That too.
I didn't say that on camera.
Yeah.
I just called on a crafting cruise. I've done 4 crafting cruises.
Yes, it is.
And so it's been 3 years this week because we had COVID that I was teaching on a cruise. So yes, crafting cruises are definitely a thing.
Who's in? I'm in.
I'm in. Okay, crafting cruise, get on it. There we go.
These are ideas. Okay. Y'all, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed our everyone's gonna head back to their booths and join us. Go in the vendor hall.